Welcoming everyone to another edition of Open Mic. I'm your host, and today we've got a great guest, Jeramy, my swing coach, friend of the program, friend of the family. Dude, how's it going?
It's going good.
Yeah?
Just got done with another beautiful day on the golf course.
Another beautiful day on the golf course, and I want to make sure I'm getting this right. Assistant pro at the Links, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Great golf course here in Colorado. If you're listening and you're in Colorado, definitely go hit up the Links.
Yep. It's everything you could ever imagine, right?
Nice. It's the best.
Busy place, a little executive course, but it's good for everybody. Anybody can enjoy it and have a good time out there. So that's
Nice.
what we like about it.
Well, I want to start from the beginning because I think you have a really great, not only golf story, but I think an awesome sports story in general, just an awesome story, really, period. Like, tell us, origin story, what kind of kid were you growing up? Who was Jeramy?
Okay.
And then we can kind of transition into then how you got into golf, which
Okay.
is an incredible story on its
Sure.
own, I think. Yeah.
So I don't know, my story. When I was a kid growing up, if you'd asked me what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
some kids will tell you they want to be an astronaut or a firefighter or doctor or whatever it is, and I would have told you that I wanted to be a professional athlete. Didn't matter what it was. There was a point in time where I would be, baseball player. I was into motocross at one point. I didn't even have a motorcycle. I just saw some movies, but that was it to me. Just wanted to be a pro athlete. I thought that was just super cool. And then, kind of went through sports growing up. Played a lot of baseball. Played a lot of golf. Baseball in high school, golf in high school. I basically asked, what sport is going to get me out of the most amount of school, and that was golf.
Yeah.
Right. So I said, sign me up for that. And out here in Colorado, golf is in the spring, and baseball's in the fall. So just kind of worked out really well. And so anyways, I wasn't very good at either one, so kind of lost touch on that childhood dream a little bit, and, didn't play at all in college. I might have played 2 rounds throughout college and just had different priorities that, golf wasn't really high on that list. And so, it wasn't until I was working at a restaurant in Lakewood back in 2011, 2012 that, and still golf was not on my mind, but it was one winter and I was bartending, and I had a buddy of mine now, this guy Ben Tremaine, who's now the head pro at Willis Case here in Denver. He was the assistant pro at Red Rocks Country Club at the time. And he came in and did some bartending with us over the winter. And so that next spring, we started playing a lot of golf.
Yeah.
And at one point, I just said, Ben, golf's too expensive. Get me a job at your country club. And he did. And it was great. I started up there in the restaurant at Red Rocks, and I would work the morning shift. And so I could go play any afternoon that I wanted to. And I could hit as many range balls as I wanted to, and kind of got back into it. And playing up there, it's just beautiful setting in the foothills, looks over Red Rocks Amphitheater off in the distance, and so it's just a really cool place.
Yeah.
A lot of great memories there. And so I kind of fell back in love with the game there, and I kind of fell back in love with the idea at some point that I could be a professional athlete again. A lot of people don't see golf as a very athletic endeavor, but if you've ever played it, you know that it's one of the harder sports.
Oh, for sure, easily.
I was watching I think I saw a magazine clip or something that had the 100 hardest sports.
Yeah.
And golf was 50.
I don't know if I
tell
buy
me
that.
50 sports that are harder than golf.
I think from a mental side too.
Right. And
It's
that's and there was it was gymnastics and boxing and, there's physical sports that I will definitely agree are harder than golf. But,
Yeah.
I
can't get 50. I can probably get
50 sports.
15.
Right.
So, okay.
So anyways, I forgot where I was there, but I just
You fell back in love with the game.
Yeah.
You're starting to play more.
So just kind of found that dream again that I wanted to be a professional athlete, and I was like, why don't I just pursue golf, you know? So I went from working in the restaurant there to working, you know, out on the range, working carts, managing those guys, and again, just getting to play as much golf as I could, and getting to play with better players like Ben, and a lot of the guys up there, just traveling around playing golf, and just really caught the bug, and just wanted to do it every day. And there was a point in time, and it always pops up on my timeline, I was at Fox Hollow out in Lakewood, and I was on the range, and it was when like P90X was big. You remember that?
Yeah, definitely.
So I think my post was like P90 golf or something.
Yeah.
And I was gonna at least hit balls or do something for 90 days straight.
Wow.
And so I was like, okay, if you can, you know, if P90X is like, oh, I can transform my body in 90 days, okay, what can I do with my golf game if I work on it every single day for 90 days? And that was kind of where I think my game turned a corner, went from, you know, kind of slapping it around to actually being able to score the golf ball, and you know, I got a lot better from that. And I kind of forget about it until it comes up on my timeline every year, and then I'm like, oh, like I need to go practice. Like, I have my hands on my clubs today. Like let's get out there and do it. But that was, I mean, that stemmed a lot of things, because you know, here in Colorado you don't get 90 days of perfect weather, you know, especially in the shoulders of the season, fall and spring. So I think it was later in the season that I had done that, and so there was one day where it was snowing or something. We got an early storm, and so I was like, well, I gotta golf. So I set up something I was living in this apartment, and so I had like drapes on the back door that went all the way down, and so I started hitting like ping pong balls into it.
Nice. Okay.
Just like chipping ping pong balls into it, right?
Yeah.
And so just so that I could continue to take swings, right? Put my hands on my clubs and keep going for 90 days in a row or whatever it was. And so that stemmed into, you know, putting little targets on the drapes. So, you know, my friends would come over and they're like, what are these duct tape circles here? And I'm like, oh, I can hit golf balls into them, you know, like working on different trajectories and stuff like that. And then I think we had a 3-hole mini chipping course in our little apartment. And the first hole was, we had a fish tank, right, like on one of the walls. And so you pop the lid up, and if you hit it into the fish tank, that was the first hole. They're just ping pong balls,
no, totally,
right? Just chipping around the house. And then the second hole was, we had this little putt back thing, the electric ones. And so you'd hit it into that. If it went in, it sends the ball back to you. And then the third hole was, my buddy's grandmother gave us like this decorative water vaporizer thing to put on our table one year. And so it was there, and it had this little hole in the middle of it, right? Where the vapor came out. And so, and then it had a bowl around it. So if you got it in the bowl, that was cool, and that was a point or whatever. But if you hit it perfectly in the center, it would like go in and stop the smoke. And that was like,
that was it.
Dropped them like,
oh, did you ever get it in?
Whatever. Oh yeah, a couple times, you know. So that was it. I mean, just like hitting chip shots around my apartment and stuff like that. And then I got like where I trusted myself enough to, I'd hit real golf balls into the drapes and stuff like that, and just little half swing chip shots, and kind of worked on it. And
wow.
And that, I mean, that going from there has stemmed into basically everywhere I've lived. I've lived in the same house for a while. My hitting room setup there evolved from that original chipping in the apartment setup that we had. And so it started as just a blanket on the wall that I hammered up there, and put a blanket up there on the wall, and I had a little mat, and I could just hit real golf balls into the blanket, and then there's this little used to be the garage, and it's just a little den in the side of our house, and so I've turned that into my hitting room, and that's where it started, with a blanket, and then few years back, I had hit a hole through the blanket.
Yeah.
And then there's a window behind it. So I broke the window there, so I've had to put up some other
some padding or
things
something, yeah.
there. And then now I've got a projector screen set up where the blanket used to be.
Yeah.
And I've got a little projector.
Nice.
And I've got a little OptiShot set up that you get from Walmart. You know,
Nice.
It's like, it's nothing special, but I can hit, 1,000 wedge shots in there a night in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And I've got it set up well enough that I can hit a 50-yard wedge shot, and it'll hit the projection screen, and it's got a little bit of give to it.
Yeah.
And so it'll bounce off it. It'll hit the concrete right in front of my hitting mat, and it'll bounce right back to my hand. So I can just hit.
Nuts.
I can just go doop, drop it, doop, drop it. And I can hit 1,000 balls a night. And
wow.
In the wintertime, that's what you got to do. You got to keep your hands
on
the clubs.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand about golf. It's like, it's hard.
It is.
It's harder than 50 other sports, I guarantee it. But
for sure, easily.
But, it just takes time.
Yeah.
When you get into it, you're fresh into the learning experience yourself. You know, and you can see, like, if you string a few days in a row of practice, okay, that next week or whatever, you're a little bit more consistent.
Yeah.
And so, it's like if you're learning a musical instrument, a piano teacher is going to give you homework to do 5 nights a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they know that's what it takes to get your hands on the keys. And so if you want to get better, that's what you got to do.
Exactly.
Every day. If you can just roll some putts in your basement or hit some ping pong balls somewhere, or, just continue to get a feel for the club in your hands, you'll progress that much faster.
Yeah.
Practice every day.
Well, and I feel like so much of it too, it's very much a rhythm and timing sport as well, in that like if you're so much of it is having good tempo, which is what I struggle with. So definitely just going to go ahead and out myself on that one here. It's what I struggle with.
You got a great swing. We just got to dial it in.
We got to dial it in, dial it back a little bit too.
Once we do, you'll be head of the Carlson golfing household.
You're like the third person.
That's going to take some work.
It will. But I think you're the third person to say it like on the podcast. So like now I'm going to just have a bank of clips of people saying that I'm going to be the best one in the family. But so much of it is it's a rhythm, it's a feel type sport. You can only do so much mechanically before, like, at the end of the day, like, you got to, swing or not swing. Like, that's what you got to hit the ball or not hit the ball. And to be able to do that, 90 straight days, like you did, like, you become, there are things that, you're figuring out those first 7 to 10 days that, like, are not even close to what you're figuring out the last 9 days you're doing.
You find your rhythm throughout there. And then once you find that rhythm, you kind of stick with that. Yeah. And then you don't have to think about that so much.
Exactly.
Everybody says, oh, there's so many things to think about. Well, yeah, when you're first starting out, I explain a lot of things in the golf swing, like driving a car. Yeah. Right? When you're 15 years old, you first get your permit and you get behind the wheel, like your hands don't even feel right on the steering wheel because they just haven't had that much time. Totally. Right? Every time you get in the car, you got to check the mirrors and check this and check all these things. Whereas down the road, once you've spent years doing it, it just becomes natural. Exactly. You get in the car and you feel comfortable. Your hands fit on the wheel much better. People want to say, oh, well, look how good this guy swings. Like, why can't? Okay, you drive a car, right? And you drive like this because you're comfortable because you've been doing it for a long time. You'll get to that point if you just keep driving every day. Put your hands on the wheel. Exactly. Every day. Your grip is your hands on the steering wheel, right? And that's, you just got to put the time in and put the, year after year, you're going to get a little bit better. Yeah. And hopefully you're going to play this game for a long time. So it doesn't matter when you start. As long as you start at some point, you'll be playing a long time. And each year you'll figure something out and, keep progressing through it.
And I think you also, like, you start to feel that, like, the way I always compare it is someone who, like, basketball is one of my favorite sports. Like, I compare it to shooting a basketball in that, if I'm going to go out on the court and start shooting, like, I know within the first 10 to 15 shots, I'm like, something doesn't feel right, or something feels good. And you kind of can then start to, like, feel like the way the ball's coming off your hands and all that stuff. But you know, if you're just going out there and shooting for the first time, you're
Right.
just trying to, you know, get your elbow in, like hopefully get
You
a
might
jump.
not even hit the hoop.
You might not even go near the hoop. Whereas with golf, it's the same thing. Like you're going to start to feel different things and develop a feel. So you'll know like, okay, something feels a little bit off today. You start to kind of develop a little, almost a spidey sense. That's the best way I can describe it. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. And I mean, how many days do you go shoot hoops, and you shot hoops every day this week, and for some reason your stroke is just off that day.
Totally.
Or you just can't find the bottom of the hoop.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, that's just, those are natural things. We're human beings.
Exactly.
Things change.
Yeah.
It could be something that you ate that day, or just somehow you feel, or something that's on your mind that changes something mechanically in your stroke, and now you can't hit a shot to save your life.
Yeah.
Right? And all you got to do in that situation is realize that and just kind of stay patient.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Work through it, stay patient, and come out tomorrow and it's going to be better.
Yeah.
Right? But a lot of times people get frustrated,
Yep.
and so then they're like, okay, I've got to figure this out, so I'm going to change something.
Yeah.
So then now tomorrow, whatever you change today is going to feel different.
Yep.
So then, you know, don't worry so much about changing things day to day. Just try and get a feel for what you've got that day and what you were working on yesterday, and continue to progress down the line.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
So it just takes time.
It does. It takes time.
A lot
But
of time.
I'm fascinated about this like P90 golf thing. So, what was the like you said you were going to do it and you did it, but like what was the inspiration behind that? Was it just like, this seems like something I can do and I'm just going to give it a shot, or was there like a moment? Because to do that for 90 straight days, like that is a lot of golf and a lot of consecutive golf.
Right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't have to be 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
It can literally be hitting 10 putts on my putting mat
Yeah.
at night before I do whatever I'm doing.
Yeah.
That counts.
Yeah.
Right? In your P90X, there's some days where you only do like 7 minutes of workout, right? But it's intense, and you check that off for that day.
Yeah.
And so I was on the range at Fox Hollow, and I dumped my bucket into the little ball holder thing, and for some reason it just like clicked.
Yeah.
And again, P90X was big at the time. I don't know if maybe somebody had given me the videos.
Yeah.
And maybe I was like trying the P90X
Maybe doing the
thing,
P90X
and I was
thing
like,
too, yeah.
okay, I can't do that. So let's try and do something similar but different.
Yeah.
And I did. I just snapped a picture of it and posted it right there. It was like P90 golf, and it was just a picture of golf range balls in a hitting mat at Fox Hollow, and and that was it. And I can't. I mean, that was a long time ago. I think that was like 8 or 9 years ago at this point. But I did it for 90 days.
Yeah.
And probably longer. You know, I mean, like once you get into a groove like that, it just becomes routine to where, okay, at some point throughout my day, I'm going to do something golf-oriented.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to wake up and hit a few chip shots. I'm going to wake up and roll a few putts. I'm going to wake up and just take some mock swings in the backyard. You don't even have to hit anything.
Yeah.
Just put your hands on your club and get a feel for that rhythm that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Just trying to find that rhythm.
So how would, like, you know, you look at day 1, day 30, day 60, and then day 90. What, like, changes did you notice? Obviously you got better, but was there anything like where you're like on day 30 and you're like, oh, like shoot, like I get this now? Or how was that progression like at each kind of 30-day mark?
And I don't know, like, I haven't thought about it like that.
Yeah.
So I guess, like, to think about it like that, I think it was like, you know, you got a little bit closer to the center of the club face, so your misses were better.
Yeah.
They felt better, and I think that you just had a little bit more distance and confidence, you know, each stage that you went.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you know, your body transformation.
Yeah.
Day 30, you're going to be like, you're going to see some tone and
Yeah.
chisel, and you're like, okay, that's good. By day 90, you're going to look pretty buff.
Yeah.
Right? And so day 30, you're like starting to get a little confidence. You're like hitting some good shots. And by day 90, you're like striping it.
Yeah.
You know, and you can go out there and you can feel confident on your range session, and you know, feel pretty buff out there.
Yeah.
Hitting balls, getting good distance, you know, making the golf ball do what you want to.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
incredible.
You got to progress through it a little bit.
I think it's an awesome story, and I kind of now I want to talk about, you know, you've worked in this club for a little bit now. You've done the restaurant. You're doing the P90 golf. Where did you or what made you decide to now make the leap to say, like, I'm going to go from kind of like doing this with golf, and this is my relationship with it. Like, now I'm going to make a legitimate career out of it. Like, what was that like? What was the inspiration behind that, and how did you make that transition?
Yeah, I don't know if it was just like multiple days driving home and like, you get done with a long day, you've put in 12 hours, but it just feels good.
Yeah.
You're at a golf course all day just talking golf, and people are stoked to be there, and so you drive home, you're like, that was fun. Like, that was a long, hard day, so that was fun, let's go do it again tomorrow. And I think just enough of those days was like, okay, I'm pretty good at this. Like, I like people, and I'm a people person, and I get to see people every day, and I get to be outside. I love being outside.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to just like doing something athletic. So I was like, might as well just try and do this. And once I committed to doing stuff like that, 90 days of golf or whatever it was pretty easy to kind of get those like competitive juices flowing again.
Yeah.
To be able to get out there and spend some hours on the range or whatever it is, because I was always like really competitive as a kid. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I remember one time, like playing kickball or something, and I got just so mad. I pushed this kid into the fence, like this chain link fence, and like left marks. But I was like, yard games and stuff like that, I was always really competitive.
For sure.
And so once I found out, like, okay, there's like tournaments you can play and different things like that, I was like, okay, and those competitive juices started to flow again. I was like, I had missed that for a long time, and so that was the fun part. And still to this day, to be able to go out and compete week in and week out is just what drives me, and it's so much fun to go to the range after a long day. You don't really feel like being there. It's like going to the gym after a long day. You don't really feel like being there, but you feel so much better at the end of that session.
Totally.
Because you put the work in, you'll be better tomorrow, and competitively you can keep up if you're putting in the work like that.
Yeah.
So I think it was just that, just realizing that A, it's something I can do for a long time, and B, realizing it's something that I can do competitively for a long time. And I can be outside and all those things that come with being at a golf course all the time.
Yeah.
Just really stuck with me, and I was like, yeah, let's do this.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. So there's steps you take. I got into the PGA program when I was still up at Red Rocks. Because the pros up there were all in the program or had gone through it at some point. And there's certain levels that you go through with the PGA. There's 3 levels, and you pass this playing ability test, and then you can go through the book work. And once I committed to that, I didn't look back. And it was interesting to me because there were certain things that I had done in the past. At one point I thought I was gonna be a personal trainer, and so I bought the courses, and I got a third of the way through the books, and it was just like, oh, that's not for me or whatever. And I just never had something that had driven me as much as golf does, and it was so easy once I got into the program to just knock it out. Because I knew that this is what I wanted to do for as long as I can.
That's awesome.
So it's been fun. Fun little journey. I got my Class A through the PGA about a year ago.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Congrats.
And I mean, the main thing there, again, it goes back to that competitiveness. The main reason I wanted to get that Class A status is there's certain tournaments you can't play in until you get it. And so that was the whole thing. Like, once I realized that you can play in a section championship, and from there you can qualify for a national championship, and from there you can qualify for the PGA Championship, which they're playing at Harding Park this week. And there's PGA guys, the top 20 guys in the nation, playing in that this week. Once I realized that, I was like, dang, you can play in a major by going through these steps. I was like, all right, game over. Let's get this book work done. Let's get this Class A, and just start playing as much as we can.
That's really cool.
That's what this year has been about, just playing as much golf as I possibly can.
I'm interested in. I mean, you've had by all means like just. I think it's incredibly fair to say a rapid rise. I mean, you've from kind of the moment you decided to like this is what I'm going to do to pick it up to now, like you said, getting your Class A.
Yeah.
Like you've had I think like I said, a very rapid rise. You know, and not only in your skill and ability, but just kind of where you're at.
Sure.
And you know, I think there's a lot of other people in golf, and I mean, shoot, our family's in it who have you know been lifers who have you know the first thing my dad did when he was born was he pretty much picked up a club. Yeah. Do you feel like you had you know any advantages as someone who you know maybe you played a little bit growing up, but you played a lot of different sports, baseball, kind of all that stuff, and then you found the game later? Did you find that maybe not only in your game but in your teaching ability, your ability to you know do your job as a pro, do you feel like you had an advantage from kind of picking it up later in life?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. The main thing I think about along those lines is, again, back to that point that it doesn't matter when you start. Yeah. As long as you start, right? Because I know, you know, and we all do, guys that were really good junior players, had a lot of success early. Yeah. Really good college players, had a lot of success on the amateur level, and for some reason just fell out of touch with the game and don't play any golf anymore, right? And so I'm just so thankful that whatever it was that made me get into it, well, it was Ben Tremaine, really. Yeah. I owe everything that I have in golf to him. Because he walked in and started bartending and we started playing together. But from there, you know, it doesn't matter how you get into it as long as you're still playing. I mean, how fortunate are we to be able to do something athletic like that until we're 80, 90 plus years old. Yeah. So I don't know if that really answered your question.
No, it does, yeah.
But, you know, not having the success at the junior level or whatever, it didn't really bother me when I started in my career. I mean, because you know I play against guys that were really good college players, you know, and still play. And I'm like, I didn't get those experiences, but I don't view that as a setback. Totally. I mean, I get to play every day now. Yeah. So, I mean, there's nothing that sets me back there. Yeah. You know, we're on the same playing field now.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, it's just, have you put in the work? So, you know, a lot of that, it's just work. It's work ethic, you know. You just got to put in the time and kind of go from there. I don't know. Back to your point of, like, learning it later in life, though. I think that you do kind of pick up on things differently, you know. And I think for me, you know, it was something that clicked along the lines there was the patience that you have to have, and kind of that. You know, my high school baseball coach always instilled mental toughness, but you know, you can't get frustrated. Yeah. And I think that was something I look back when I was a kid, playing golf with my dad and stuff, and I'd chuck a club if I hit a bad shot, and you know, he's like, oh, you can't do that, and I'm like, you know, I don't do those things anymore because I realize that you're gonna hit bad shots, you're gonna hit good shots. Yeah. If you just stay patient, you hit one bad, that's fine. You have an opportunity to hit the next one better. Yeah. So I think maybe that maturity that you gain just being a little bit older kind of bled into the patience that I had to put in the time on the range. And you're going to have some days that suck, you know. Exactly. But you're going to have some really good days where you figure some things out, as long as you're not trying to overanalyze things too much and change things on a daily basis just because you had one bad day. Yeah. So I think that was the main thing, you know, learning it or picking it back up a little bit later was just that patience that you gain being a little bit older. Yeah. And so, yeah, I try and instill that in my students. You know, I feel like sometimes, you know, I don't know if they feel like I'm just telling them the same thing, but a lot of times that's what it is. Yeah. You know, I don't want to say, you know, 100 different things. I might say one thing 100 different ways. Exactly. Yeah. But it's that thing of, okay, we worked on this last week, we're going to work on it again this week. Yeah. Because once you get over that hurdle, then you'll be all right. Exactly. You know? But you've got to focus on those fundamentals. I call them prerequisites to a good golf swing.
Yeah.
You've got to focus on those things and be patient through that before you can graduate to learning more technical aspects of it.
Totally.
Right? So you've got to get those fundamentals down first, and you've got to stay patient through that, not try and jump over those hurdles, because it doesn't matter if your swing plane is fantastic if your balance and your finish position is way off or whatever. So you've got to focus on those things first. And so if you just kind of keep it small, keep it simple, it comes a little bit easier.
No, and I think the patience thing that you brought up, that's something that definitely, like, I've been thinking about a bunch since I started playing, because as a kid, no patience. We would like, Grandpa would try to take me out to the range, and I've got, at that point, a great teacher in front of me, and I'm like, just had no patience in the world. But and I think the same goes for Andrew. It's like, by us kind of self-selecting into the sport later in life, we were like, it was kind of a saying, like, okay, the patience is now there. The kind of more adult things you need, need developed to play the game are there. And I think, being able to also choose it, because I think some people grow up and you don't get to necessarily choose the sport you play, or maybe you're kind of pushed into it. So, obviously we were, we were pushed into it a little bit as kids. We're like, we're not going to do it. But then we kind of came back to it later and chose to do it. I think that, I think it's a huge advantage as well, is that you've said, I'm going to sign up for this and come hell or high water, like, I'm going to get good.
The game found you at a different time.
Exactly.
And but it doesn't matter as long as it found you at some point.
As long as it found you.
And it is crazy to me that you guys come from such a golfing family. That nobody other than your dad played golf until, like, what? When did Drew start?
It's like
2 years ago.
3 years ago.
And then nobody else until this year. You and your mom and everybody. And so I do find that quite amusing. But back to that same point. When I was watching your grandfather teach Drew, I was like, the level of patience that he showed, because Terry gave him a very, I don't know if strict is the right word, but a very focused way to swing the golf club. And he literally made him take just these slow motion
I remember that.
golf swings. Day in and day out. He wouldn't let him get that speed until he had the technique down. And so I saw that, and I was like Drew must be one of the most patient people ever, because so many people they want it so quickly, right? But Terry instilled in him that it doesn't come quickly. It takes time. You have to stay patient. And now, he's playing all the time and playing really good golf. And it's because he's got those flawless fundamentals that he had from there. Fortunately for you, naturally, you had those fundamentals. So I didn't have to hold I didn't have to hold the reins here and tell you to slow it down to a crawl. Maybe sometimes we need to work back to that.
We do, exactly. Right? No, we do, for sure.
Slow it down a little
Something
bit.
Something I'm working on even right now,
I just thought it was really impressive on both sides, Terry and Drew, to work on the game like that. And you see what it's done for his game.
It's done a lot. And Grandpa's been a great teacher. So
he's
otherworldly.
He's an all-timer, right?
Yeah, he is.
Sure.
But I think golf is an incredible game, and I want to kind of pivot a little bit to now your life as an assistant pro at the links. I mean, what's the day in and day out look like? I mean, I imagine it's a lot of different hats. You're doing a lot of different things. What are you doing day in and day out?
Yeah, a lot of different fires, And it's been cool seeing things from private side, working at a country club like that, starting my career there, to now a very incredibly busy public golf course. Especially this year in a COVID year, we're going to do almost 70,000 rounds.
Wow.
70,000 rounds.
That's incredible.
I don't know. I was telling my boss the other day, I don't know that any other golf course in the world has done as many rounds as we have, because there was places shut down and we were still able to be open and everything. But back to my point, it's been cool to see it from both sides. And there's different things that you learn at a country club. you know who's coming in every single day, right?
Yeah.
You know who's on the tee sheet. You know what those people's preferences are. You know what Mrs. Johnson likes to drink before her round and after. You know, and so you have those things prepped and ready.
Yeah.
Whereas at a public golf course, you don't know who's coming to your facility, so you really got to be on your toes a lot more.
Yeah.
Because you look at your tee sheet, and you're like, okay, let's.
Yeah.
400 golfers on it. Let's go.
Yeah.
And so it's fun. I love people and being around people, and so get to see a lot of people day in and day out. They're long, hard days, but I mean that's really all it is just making sure people are having a good time on the golf course.
Yeah.
And this year we've seen a lot more, but at the course that I work at, being a little bit less intimidating as far as layout goes, being an executive course, we get a lot of new, raw beginner players.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it, again, it goes back to that patience aspect. We have to have a lot of patience, but it's, you have to kind of view it as educating people because there's so many things about golf etiquette wise and stuff like that people just don't know.
Exactly.
So they come out to play for the first time, they're like, all right, let me just show up and get a cart,
show up and start hitting balls,
and go from there. So a lot of it is just making sure that people are having the best time that they can, and then just trying to educate people in certain areas without coming across as, harping on them for doing something wrong or whatever it is. Again, you got to have kind of that patience. But, I enjoy teaching and stuff like that. And so I think that the words that you use and the way that you come across to people, I'll just walk up and down the range sometimes and, pick up baskets or whatever it is. And you'll just see something going on. And you're like, oh, just, get your weight on your front foot and your finish, or do something different here or there, and people enjoy it. I actually get a lot of lessons that way.
Yeah.
Just kind of walk up and down the range and kind of pick them up like that. But it's fun, man. I get to be outside all the time, and it's awesome. I love it.
Would you say that was? I think you brought up an incredible point. Like, there's definitely a difference between a country club and a public course, but I think the greater point that you brought up is, like, when you're kind of working at a course that's more of an executive course where, like, there's a lot of people around who are either looking to start playing or are kind of in that, they're not as well experienced. Do you find that to be a really rewarding thing, to be able to
for sure.
You have people come in who are by a lot of standards just pretty raw when it comes to their game from the etiquette standpoint. How rewarding is that to see someone come in, totally raw, unfinished, and then, after a couple weeks, couple of months, now really have a great understanding of the game. Has that made you a better pro, a better teacher? Has that, helped you?
It just makes me enjoy my job a little bit better.
Yeah.
There's this lady Rhonda comes to mind. She probably started 2 years ago. Had never swung before. Her husband plays out at Meridian out by Centennial Airport, and so she just wanted to pick it up. And you get to see people come in after their best round ever, and they broke 50 for the first time, or their first birdie, and how stoked people get. And you get to kind of be a proud parent of these certain aspects, and kind of be just stoked for them right along with them. And I give her as an example because a lot of people, again, they think that they can pick it up so quickly, and they think that, I'm just going to go play golf and it's going to be easy and it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it pisses you off a little bit.
Exactly.
So, the biggest thing that, she realized is it goes back to that 10,000 hours of, okay, I can achieve some sort of expertise in something, but it's going to take a long time. 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. And so her and I have had conversations on, like, okay, how many hours do you think you put in this year? Do you think you put in 200 hours or 500 hours
Yeah,
or whatever it is. Okay,
exactly.
it's like, okay, if I put in 500 hours, that's still going to take me 20 years
Exactly,
to
yeah.
achieve my 10,000 hours.
Totally.
Right. So by the time you're 60 years old, okay, you'll achieve some level of mastery. But that's the main thing. And she, just having that mindset, it helps her progress a little bit better and easier than some other raw beginners that I've seen come out there that, again, want to pick it up so quickly, get really frustrated, give it up.
Yeah.
Like, this sucks. I'm not having a good time. I don't want to do it. And so if you just change your mindset a little bit to, okay, I'm going to have good days and bad days, but as long as I keep working towards putting in those hours, putting in that P90 golf, back to that. And the improvements that we've seen in her game are just tremendous, and she has a great time every time she comes out there. Even when she has a bad round, she knows that, okay, that's just one step closer. That's 2 extra hours towards my 10,000 hours.
Exactly.
And so we're still achieving a goal, even if we didn't have our best round of golf or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So that mindset, and again, getting to kind of be along for the ride with different people, and helping them out along the way, that's the rewarding part of it. Just getting to be stoked with them when they make their first birdie and stuff like
Totally.
that. So.
You get to learn. You get to kind of be there for the full journey of it all. So I got a couple more questions, and I'll move into the rapid fire, which is always a little. It's always fun. Yeah.
Okay.
It's called the rapid fire. We still really don't have a name for it, even though I
like rapid fire.
Even this episode, I think 5 or
is
6
it?
or something. So we still don't have a name for it.
Okay.
But couple more questions, and we'll jump right into that.
Sounds good.
What would you say is, this is kind of a little bit more of a lighter question, the most underrated part about working at a golf course? Is it the chilled Snickers bars in kind of the snack cart, or is it the range balls? Is it just being able to be out on a course? Is it teaching? What would you say is the most underrated part?
I think it's back to the whole reason I started in the industry was for free golf.
Free golf.
Yeah. I said, Ben, golf's too expensive. Get me a job at your country club.
Yep.
And I think along the way, once I realized how the industry worked, as far as you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Yeah.
You come out to our golf course, we'll have you out at ours.
Yeah.
Once I realized that that's a lot of how the industry works, that was kind of what hooked me. You know? And a lot of the things that I do in the section and going to different meetings and playing in different tournaments is like, I just do it to meet different people.
Yeah.
A lot of my buddies that get into it, they're like, they feel like they have to be able to play on the PGA Tour to play in any of these tournaments and stuff. It's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're going to go play with, head pros from Cherry Hills and Castle Pines and all these really cool places, and it's about the connections that you make.
Yeah.
That, okay, now you can call up Graham Cliff at Colorado Golf Club and say, hey, can I get out on a Tuesday at 3 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay, and so that, to me, I think that's the biggest perk of the industry.
Yeah.
Is the free golf.
The free golf.
You get free golf at your golf course. You get free golf at other golf courses. So yeah.
Well, and I think the connection side of it, like the social aspect of golf, it's also part of the reason why I decided to take the plunge myself, is that there's just it is so intertwined with the game, and that you learn a lot about a person by spending 4 hours on a golf course with them. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's somewhere in the middle. So I think the social element of it and the connectivity of it, because as soon as you've played with a person, like, there's instantly a bond there, and now you're able to talk to other people, and it just, I think that's also one of the more underrated parts of golf, is that you get to play with a lot of people, and you get to see a lot of different sides of people as well.
To that point, after Red Rocks and before the Links, I lived in California for about 6 months. Okay. Lived with my dad out there, played a lot of golf, spent a lot of time at the beach. And for the first week or so I was out there, I didn't want to work. I was just on vacay mode or whatever. And then at one point I just decided that I was going to go find a job at a golf course. And so I went around to, 6 or 7 different places and interviewed a bunch of them, and or I applied and got some interviews. And the best one was at a golf course in Ventura. I'm blanking on the name right now, but the head pro there, he had me out for a playing interview.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
18-hole playing interview, and he told me, if you ever become a head pro and you're interviewing assistants, take them out for a playing round because you're gonna see somebody's character.
Yeah.
In a round of golf.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was just awesome to me. Like, I think I skyrocketed my first tee shot and hit it about 20 yards, but straight up in the air. And, a lot of people, like, you just can't get frustrated.
Exactly.
Like, you're trying to get a job here. And he said he's seen everything, and he hasn't hired people because of how they act on the golf course.
Yeah.
Because if they're going to act like that, you never know when they'll fly off the handle talking to a guest or something like that. So you just keep your composure, keep your cool, go out. And I think after that, I was a couple over on the turn, and one of the ladies in the shop, she goes, "Well, you can't beat the pro, so and
you can't."
But that was to your point, you getting to spend 4 hours with someone on the golf course, you get to see a lot of different sides of them. So that was just a really fun experience, and
I love that. We'll go into the rapid fire. We'll wrap up. You've worked at, first of all, massive day. We're taping it like, I think, what is it now? It's 9:20 on a Thursday night. The episode's going to drop tomorrow, so
perfect.
I want to make sure we get you back home so you can sleep and get recharged. So, first question I want to ask: you can play. It's you, and you can play with 3 other people: celebrity, actor, golfer, pro sports athlete, anyone. Who are your 3 people, and where are you playing?
Okay. And you get this question a lot, and I think 2 that are solidified in there is Tiger Woods and Arnold Palmer if he was still alive.
Okay.
Tiger is the whole reason I got into golf, right? Getting to watch him dominate the sport when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Every Sunday with my dad on the couch, the things that he did was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So you went out to the range and tried to do some of these things. Obviously couldn't, but still, like, it was amazing watching him do it. And then once I got into golf, Arnold Palmer became my favorite golfer just because of his character and how he treated people and the people person that he was and the connections that he made. I've read several of his books and stuff, and so those 2 for sure. The 4th varies. I don't know, like. My last name's Curry, so Steph Curry, he plays golf. He jumps in there sometimes. So I don't know, that 4th spot is open.
Okay.
So where are we gonna play?
You can go anywhere. There's no limit.
I mean, Pebble Beach is right there, at the top of the list. I've never played it. It's iconic and beautiful, and both those guys have won on that golf course. So let's go.
Probably some good stories.
Let's go play there.
Okay, I like it. I think that's a really great. We've got a lot of different kind of unique answers to that one. So I like that answer a lot.
Okay.
The next one. What's the best shot you've ever hit?
Wow, best shot I ever hit. The shot that made me the most money that I've ever hit, a couple months ago at the Pinery out in Parker, I holed out a wedge from the fairway. I was 100 yards out, made a 2, made like a $350 skin.
That counts, man.
I mean,
that counts.
Hole out from the fairway. I've never had a hole in one.
Yeah.
So I think that would top the list.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a hole out somewhere. And that was on like the 2nd hole, so it was just fun to play the round after.
Plus, you made 350 bones on that one swing, so that's
exactly.
not bad. Not bad for a day's work, man.
So.
Okay, I like that. That's a great one. Next one, you just got done playing. Could be a tournament. You could just have been, finished playing. What's the post round meal looking like? Do you have a go-to?
If I'm at my golf course, it's a burger and fries.
Cool.
Because they're just, the Lynx burger is really good.
It is.
A lot of times it's just anything wrapped into tortilla.
That works,
I'm
man.
a big Mexican food guy. So
That works.
Chipotle, if you got tacos on your menu, something, that'd be, it's nothing fancy.
Hey, it doesn't need to be anything. Anything wrapped in a tortilla works perfectly.
Give me some grill food. I'm okay with that.
Okay, I like it. So now I want you to put on your analyst hat.
Okay.
PGA tournament this weekend, PGA Championship PGA tournament. First round was today, so we'll just totally fine. Who's your give me a winner prediction? Who are you picking, and why are you picking that person to win?
Okay.
And this is going to be recorded, so if you pick this correctly, the video, I'm going to send you the video immediately, and you can just post this out everywhere.
I'm going to pick Tiger.
And pick Tiger.
He's 2 off. Well, he's 3 off the lead. A couple guys shot 5 under. He shot 2 under.
Yeah.
Could have been lower. He's got a new putter.
Yep.
He hasn't played for a while, so his tournament feels might not be there, but a guy that's won 15 majors.
Yeah.
I just think anytime he's in contention now, he feels a little bit of pressure because he wants to get to Jack's record.
Yeah.
And he's so close. But I think someone that handles pressure like him, it helps him out, and he kind of thrives in those situations. So he's a couple shots off the lead. He's got this new putter. It's a little bit longer.
Okay.
And watching his stroke today, Jason and I were watching the highlights, and he's releasing it really well.
Yep.
So I think he's got momentum, and he's hard to bet against. So if I'm
That's
going
true.
anybody,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick Tiger.
Well, if Tiger wins, like I said, I'm chopping this clip up,
Love
and you're
it.
the first one to get it.
Love
You're
it.
going to call it. So.
And I'll be just as stoked as anybody else. I mean, come on, that'd be incredible. Anytime he wins is incredible.
Oh, it's always a huge deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a great. So far, you've aced the rapid fire at this
Okay,
point.
nice.
Last question.
Okay.
You are a teacher. Full disclosure, you're my swing teacher.
Yes.
So
Yes.
always great to have you.
Do you
on.
post videos of your swing yet?
I do.
to
I
the
post. I
podcast?
posted some on my Instagram. So
all right.
I've only posted the good ones. Though.
He's got
So
a good swing.
I've been trying.
Really good swing.
Well, I appreciate it. Again,
Yeah.
that's on the record for everyone now who can hear that.
Yeah.
Multiple people have
Yeah.
said that. What is your biggest swing tip? For the average golfer, someone maybe has practiced a little bit more than I have, is kind of just getting started, but isn't totally wrong. What's the biggest swing tip? What's the best thing we can work on right now to improve our game?
To me, and if any of my students hear this, they're gonna be like, "Yep, figured you'd say that." It's the finish position. Okay, you see a lot of different swings on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
Right, Matthew Wolff, Jim Furyk, outside, underneath. Okay, all these different things. But for the most part, they all have a very similar finish position.
Gotcha.
Because they want to come through impact, in a very similar way.
Yeah.
So these things back here in the takeaway and the transition can vary, but they all stick that finish.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And so to me, if you want the club to do good things through impact, focus on this side of the swing, the
Gotcha.
through swing.
Okay.
Right? Because everybody hangs on their back foot. Their balance is on their back, or, their weight's on their back foot. They're here. Or if the club's coming across the ball, their balance is going this way,
Yeah.
right? So if we don't focus so much on what can I do not to get my club to do this, focus on getting my weight onto my left side and finishing balance here, and the club's naturally going to want to go the way you want it to.
Exactly.
You can't swing like this and fall off balance this way if you're focused on staying balanced.
For sure.
So it's the finish position.
Finish position.
Try and stick that finish, swing hard to the finish position,
Yeah.
and good things will happen in your golf swing.
Perfect. Well, hey, that was a great way to end it. Jeremy, thanks so much for coming on. We're
Thanks,
definitely
Mike.
going to have you
That
again.
was
I feel
fun.
like maybe U.S. Open Masters time we could get
Okay.
you,
I love
Dad,
it.
do like a little preview, a little post-game type thing. So
I'm hoping to go to the Masters this year.
Okay, wow.
I've never been.
Yeah.
But me and a buddy of mine, once they changed the whole schedule this year, because it's usually in April and we're super busy, but it's in November now.
Yeah.
And so once I saw that they had come out with that, I called them immediately and I said, let's go. Because one of the main perks of being affiliated with PGA of America is we get, once you're Class A, another reason why I want to be Class A, you get tickets to the Masters.
Wow.
Right?
Okay, yeah.
You get one ticket.
Yeah.
You can't bring a family member or anything
It's
like
just you.
that. So me and Ben Tremaine have a reservation at this Scottish Inn in Augusta, Georgia, November 12th through the 16th or whatever it is. And so hopefully we get to go. But
Well, maybe we'll
if
go.
my prediction is good, I feel like we got to do the majors.
Well, I feel like we'll do the majors, and maybe I think it'll just be we can't get you a press pass or any kind of press credential, but maybe we'll do like a live from the Masters Zoom.
Ooh,
we'll have
that'd
you
be
on,
cool.
and we can just talk
Those
a
are
little
tough
bit.
because they don't let you, bring you can't take pictures.
We'll
during
do
the
it
round
afterwards.
or
We'll do that. You can
something.
just
We'll do it-
report what you
we'll
saw
do
on
it
the
after.
ground. You'll be our
Okay.
boots on the ground
Okay.
there. We'll do a little Zoom, and
be
we
your
can
eyes
figure
on
that
the-
out. You
on
can
the
be the
golf
eyes on the
course.
ground, but
That'd be-
hey, this
I
is.
would love to have eyes on that golf course. That's for sure.
I might need you to put
Yeah.
a phone in your pocket or
Yeah,
something like that
right.
and kind of just FaceTime me and show me what
I
it's
might
like.
take it.
We'll see. We can't. Hopefully, no one's listening to that. Who's
Yeah,
affiliated with the Masters.
exactly. They're about to take my ticket. They're like, this guy, no, he ain't coming.
But no, Jeremy, this was a blast, man.
that's
We're looking
fun.
forward to having you on again.
Yeah,
And
thanks for having me.
If you're in the Colorado area and you're listening, go play at the links. It's a
Yep.
wonderful track.
Yep.
If you need swing tips, if you need swing help, if you're like me and just sometimes don't know what the hell you're doing, go see Jeramy. He's a great swing coach. Great golf person, great golf human. So thanks so much, man. We appreciate it,
Thanks.
dude.
Yeah,
You're the
absolutely.
best. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.